Are you tired of spending too much of your hard-earned money at the supermarket? Are you dreaming of farm-fresh eggs, homegrown veggies, and homemade everything? Well, welcome to Ditch the Store, where we break free from supermarket dependence and take back control of our food and household essentials. I'm CJ, and I'm here to show you that life is too short for store-bought eggs. So let's get started. G'day and welcome to Ditch the Store, episode 150. 150 episodes.
50 episodes.
Wow. Oh my God.
I haven't been on one for a while.
I was going to say, and I have the handy helper here, as you can hear. 150 episodes. Shit. Never thought I'd get to those. Didn't think I'd make it past 100, but there you go.
50 days of sitting here.
Wow, 150 hours of recording. Yeah, you know.
Good.
Anyway, welcome everybody. Episode 150, we are still talking about beginner homesteading stuff. And today we're talking about tools and supplies that you actually need to start. Now, I asked the handy helper especially to be here for this one because he knows more shit about tools than I do. You do.
You reckon I'm a fool, but anyway.
I wasn't going to say that, but you're bringing it up. But yeah, for most women homesteaders, we might know a lot about kitchen tools and about kitchen items, but we might know something about some gardening items, but for bigger tools, it's the blokes. Let's face it, the blokes know tools. Blokes know tools. Sounds terrible, doesn't it? It sounds so ochre. Sorry for all my overseas listeners who listen to that and go, what the fuck? Australians sound so weird when they talk together. Anyway. So what we're going to talk about is what you actually need to get started, because it's really tempting, and I may have been guilty of it, to go out and purchase things that are the whiz-bang, super-duper.
Yeah, they're not always the whiz-bang, but yeah.
I haven't done it too much, though, because I am a tight ass. I'm very frugal when it comes to purchasing large, expensive items. I mean, we've only just bought a vac mop for the house after probably 10 years of me wanting a hard floor cleaner. We've only just done it. So it takes me a long time to purchase something big. But it's really important that you don't go into homesteading and go, I'm just going to buy everything I need straight up, because realistically, buying those things, you just
waste of time.
Yeah, and it's money that could be spent somewhere else. So what do you really need? You don't need what they've got on Ballerina Farm. I'd love to have cast iron pots for everything and wood stoves and all that kind of stuff.
Where's time for that shit? Seriously.
We have a wood burner that I cook on top of, and honestly, I will try and put a photo up. It is a very small wood burner. We have a very small house, but we've got it quite well. But the goal is to get the basics that are practical, affordable, and if they can be multi-use, that's always going to be a winner, because, you know, you don't want to spend money on one item that can only be used for one particular thing. So if it is a multi-purpose tool, then that's great. And certainly you would have tools out in the shed that are multi-purpose, and
everything hammer.
Not technically, but it can be used as. It can be used as. But our big tip is, and because we're quite frugal and we don't spend money where we don't need to spend money, don't buy it unless you, absolutely know that you need it, or you've borrowed it or bought it secondhand and tried it. Don't go for a new one until you've tried a secondhand one first.
Especially with big items.
Yeah.
Big items. Little things and bits and pieces aren't too bad, but big items, yeah, definitely.
But get a secondhand one and see if you even use it. I mean, when I went to the Thermomix, cult, we actually bought, that's what it is really, we bought a very cheap Thermomix knockoff first, and I tried that, and I used it like every day.
Used the hopes.
And then I went, hey, you know what? It's probably worth spending the $2,000 on the Thermomix.
You got sucked in.
Oh, I did get sucked in.
You got sucked in by that one.
Yeah, we knew the lady who was the consultant, and she threw in so many extras for me. It wasn't funny. I couldn't. It was impossible to say no. So she actually, from memory, she sold me the TM5
and the 6.
And then I sold that to my mum and bought the TM6, and she gave me heaps of stuff. And now the TM7's out, which is the one with the really big screen. And the handy helper has said no. And to be honest, I don't need it yet. If money was no object, would I go and buy it? Yeah, probably.
I think money to use that one.
It looks pretty cool. I would probably go and buy it. But try a secondhand one or a cheaper budget version first. And if you're not using it all the time, then you're probably not going to use the really good one all the time either. So, firstly though, garden tools. And garden tools are something that we seem to have garden tools lying around all over the place. The kids leave them. Oh God, I actually think maybe they kind of get blown onto the property or something, and then the kids.
From the market we brought this property, I've found things everywhere.
Rakes, shovels.
120 acres, and you're at the furthest point of the property and find a mattock. And you go, well, how the hell did that end up?
I don't know how that happens.
It's not one of mine, but someone owned.
Yeah, but they're all secondhand. They're all used. And you know what? When the rake handle breaks, Handy Helper just goes and buys another pole for the rake. And makes one and sticks another handle in it. We have had issues where a couple of the handles are very splintery.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids have had complaint about splinters, and I've had complaint about splinters.
I have a shovel handle that's absolute nightmare. Every time you touch it, you get splinters in it. It'll light fire with that handle. And that leads on to another one of the items that you probably should buy straight up, which is gloves. Now, definitely. Now, you can go the super expensive gloves. Handy Helper and I got suckered in at Floriade, which is a big... I wouldn't say suckered in because they were worth it. They were worth it. But we bought these gloves that are basically stab proof. No, they're not stab proof. They're stab resistant. Yeah. Nothing's sufficiently stab proof. Run a razor blade across your hand. That won't cut your hand. Won't cut the glove, your hand or anything. Which when you're dealing with raspberries. Rose bushes, anything thorns... You can grab hold of it and it just won't go through it. They're the toughest pair of gloves I've ever owned. They're awesome. And I was going to use them for beekeeping. Beekeeping as well. Because they're obviously they have such a thick layer, but they're still quite dexterous. You still can feel quite a bit through them. But if you don't want to spend, and I mean, I think we spent $30 a pair. It might have been $50 for two. Yeah, something like that. If you don't want to spend that kind of money, go to the supermarket, honestly, and buy rubber washing up gloves for gardening. You sweat a bit in them, but they work. But you can get the cotton lined ones now. So not as sweaty. But to start with, start with the cheapest ones. If you don't like using gloves, you might get out there and go, I actually really like having my hands in the dirt. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I go out there and I'll be doing stuff and I think gloves are just annoying. Yep. Like I just need to feel what I'm doing. And beekeepers, I know a lot of beekeepers that don't even wear gloves. Yeah, I'm not going to fall for that. I get stung so much on the hands. There's no point in me not wearing gloves. I'd be covered. But gloves, you don't have to buy the expensive ones. You can buy just cheap rubber ones. Yep. But things like a hand trowel, you can buy really cheap versions of it. And yes, they're cheap Chinese versions. For those of you that haven't heard me say it before, as somebody who sells on Amazon, 90% of what gets sold comes out of China. It's just labelled differently. So you might look at something and think, oh, that's got a really good brand label on it. That brand label came out of the same factory as the cheap Chinese ones. So don't get hung up on brand labels. If you can buy a little kit of like a hand trowel kit that's got like a little spade, a little rake, what I think it's referred to as a divil, which is the pointy thing that you put in and you can put seeds in. And it usually has a tape measure on the side of it where you can dig into the ground and it shows you how deep. So when you're looking at your seeds and you say, oh, well, I've got to plant this seed at 2 centimetres, you can poke the divil in up to the 2 centimetre line and you know that the seed's at the right height for it to germinate. So if you can get a little kit like that comes in a bag or comes in, and you bought me after my knee surgery, Handy Helper bought me one of those kneeling sitting seats. Yeah. Which since the broken leg I haven't been able to use. I haven't been kneeling anywhere. But they're really handy to have in the garden to be able to get down low and kneel without hurting your knees. But they also have pockets on the side of them so that you can put tools in the side of them and carry them, with all the tools kind of already attached so you're not fumbling around with what you've got in your hands. Now, one thing I will say to buy a decent set of, because we use them for so many things, don't we? We use them for everything. Yeah, secateurs. So pruners, cutters. What do we use ours for? I cut goats' hooves with
Hooves.
them.
Yep.
Different types. There's pointy nose ones, got normal secateurs, stuff like that.
Apple
They
trees.
are worth buying
A
a
decent set.
decent set.
Yeah.
The cheap ones, they bend, they don't cut properly, they're shit.
The ratchety. What's the
The
ratchety bit on
ratchet
it?
goes in them. Some of them you can get a ratchet ones, so you squeeze and then release and then
And it'll
squeeze
hold
again, and it keeps
the pressure on. Yeah.
closing the thing on.
And they're good for pruning fruit trees and bigger trees.
Bigger trees, bigger branches, anything up to like a 13mm diameter type of thing.
Handy Helper used to use them when we'd be catching bee swarms out of trees, and then he would drop the bee swarm on my head. Because he would cut through and not be hanging onto the branch because he's so busy working on the secateur to cut through. And the next thing I
dropped one on your head.
Yeah, you did drop. Yeah, that was fun.
But yeah, definitely pruners and things like that. Even small, pruners come in different sizes. You've got a really good smaller set.
Yeah. But what's the key to keeping them sharp?
You got to keep them clean. That's what the key is.
And there's little oil.
Sometimes they have little oil pads on them. Tree sap and stuff like that will knock them about a fair bit. So it is worth WD-40.
Yep.
Spray it on it, wipe it off, spray it on it again. If you're putting it away, it just keeps it good.
The Handy Helper.
You can sharpen them with.
The Handy Helper is an ex-mechanic, so if it's not WD-40, it's electrical tape.
Yep.
If you can't fix it with W40 or 100-mile-an-hour tape, it can't be fixed.
Yep. And it's definitely worth spraying them and keeping them in good nick.
Yeah.
And you can, like I said, you can sharpen them with like with a small sharpening stone or something like that. If you've got
just like a knife, yeah,
just like a knife, just like a knife. Yeah, there's only one edge that needs to be sharp on it because the backside edge on a pair of secateurs is flat. It's just pushing, isn't it? It just locks against it. Yeah.
But we definitely use them for goat hoof.
You use them for cutting goat hoofs
because you want them sharp, and you want the point to be able to get in because with goat hooves, they're the top of their hoof will curl over. Yeah. So having the point, you can kind of get it in and wedge it and push the point, push it out just the nail. It's essentially like a big nail.
Like a big nail. Yeah.
And you push it out so that you can get in and trim because then you clear all the dirt and muck out of there and they don't end up with horrible rotten feet kind of thing.
There's heaps of good brands and bits and pieces you can get as well.
That's really the only thing that we would have spent more than money on. Like we wouldn't have gone the cheaper version.
Fisk is the brand. They make a really good
and there's a
really good pointy set of secateurs.
I thought there was another one too, but
they do small razors ones. They do all sorts of stuff. You can get them at your local Bunnings.
Yeah. But just pick the one, pick a general size one if you're starting out. And then as you go down the track, like if you're growing flowers all the time, then you'll end up getting a pair that are really, really specific for flowers or for fruit trees or like us for trimming goat's hooves.
You'll get to that point where you'll have a pair of secateurs that you'll say, you're not cutting anything else, cut this with it.
It's a bit like for those of you out there that are sewers, I have my sewing scissors and nobody's allowed to touch my sewing scissors. My sewing scissors are super uber sharp and I do not like anybody touching my sewing scissors because they blunt them because they cut things that shouldn't be cut with them. They're for fabric and fabric alone. Anyway, next one, watering can or hose. Now, we did have a retractable hose at Gunning.
We did.
We don't have one here because because it's such a big property, when we turn the pump on, we have a stand-up watering, what do they call it? The whirly jiggers? What's the whirly jigger that's got the sprinkler that's on the 3 stand? It's a sprinkler, but it's on 3 stands. It's a big one. Yeah. So it does like a really large area. And that's connected to the pump. So when the Handy Helper is filling up water troughs, he'll sometimes put that sprinkler on and it covers probably an acre, 2 acres.
It covers a fair bit of ground. But if I'm going to turn the pump on, I have it hooked up to the sprinkler all the time. So by the time I walk up to the paddock where it is, it's got a bit of water on the ground. Then I disconnect it, I fill up all the water troughs, plug it back in again.
Especially at the moment, because the moment we're so dry. Like I said last week, we're sitting on 40 degrees. It's 40 today. It's insane how hot it is at the moment. But watering cans are just as good, and you can get them super, super cheap. Bunnings have them for 99 cents or something like that. They're really cheap.
So sometimes it pays to get a big one. Little ones are good if you're doing little pots and bits and pieces, but the big one definitely.
I find having a little one, mind you, that being said,
you kill everything.
I have a plant in our bedroom. It's the only plant that I haven't killed. That I've kept going for years. And guess what I water that with?
Yeah, water bottle.
An old water bottle, like as in a bought bottle of water, and I just fill it up with water and take it in and sit it next to the pot. And then every time I walk past, I just flick the lid and tip some water in it. So the watering can is actually just a disposable water bottle that I'm still using. Oh, like that.
It just so happens to be one sitting right here.
Very similar to that. And that's what I use.
Intended.
Yeah. That's literally what I use for watering and plants inside. Plants on the veranda, same. I'll use that to water plants on the veranda. It's the easiest thing to carry out there and just... but we do have metal watering cans.
Yeah, you've got a big plastic one too.
Got a big plastic one.
10-litre plastic one.
Yeah. And we'll take that for things up in the veggie garden. If it's not like the super hot weather we're having now, we're not going to put the sprinkler on. Then taking a hand watering can is the easiest. We don't want to waste water. We are off grid for our water, so our water usage has to be pretty spot on. I mean, we're at a point where we're just about to buy a load of water to go into the tank.
We've been out here for how long?
5
years.
Nearly 6.
It'll be the first time we've ever had to
buy water. So we're doing really well in that respect, but we do save a lot of water. We're not the kind of people that would just go out there and put sprinklers on or soak hoses or things like that. We just don't
most of our water that comes from off the house, even the shower, doesn't go down the drain. It goes into the paddock.
Yeah. All of our grey water goes out into different areas of the paddocks to keep those paddocks, because we have paddocks that we use for sick bay. If we've got a sick goat, we can put them into a certain paddock where we can keep them close to the house and restricted from other animals so that they don't pass on any diseases they've got. Yep. We've got our kidding pen, which we quite often run the water out into there to make it nice and lush and green, because it's nice for the kids if they're growing up in a green paddock instead of a brown, dead, dry paddock. So grey water, we do filter it off. We don't.
There's no point in wasting.
We don't filter it up to the veggie garden, but the veggie garden is actually uphill from the house.
It's a bit annoying.
So it kind of doesn't work that way. We probably need to have something kind of coming downhill. I need to get a hold. There's a book, and it's actually written by a guy who reckons that he knows how to make water travel uphill.
Sounds like hard work.
Yeah, he does these little levee banks, and
make it uphill, but
it's hard. Anyway, the next one is buckets, and I kind of put buckets and wheelbarrow in together there. So when you're first starting out, if you're only on a small block, you probably don't need a wheelbarrow. We have a wheelbarrow. We have a couple. We have wheelbarrows that are absolutely fucking trashed, and the handy helpers had to reline them with other things so that shit doesn't fall out of them. Literally, quite literally, goat shit doesn't fall out of them. But we have wheelbarrows that we use, and the main thing you have to consider is making sure that the tyres are pumped up on them. Having to drag a wheelbarrow with a flat tyre,
it's annoying.
It's so frustrating. And like for me at the moment with the broken leg, we're actually looking at the 4-wheel drive Supercentre the other day, which is one of our favourite stores to go in and,
put it on par with Bunnings. I really
Yeah, it is.
Actually like it more.
They had a beach cart, if you've seen them, like the carts that parents take to the beach. They've got 4-wheel drive tyres. They've got like a canopy that goes over them, but they're a cart that's like fully enclosed with solid walls on it. And you can load it up and walk across sand with it, and it tows behind you. And it's got a handle. But I was looking at it and I said to the handy helper, maybe we could do it and put a harness on it. And then for me, while I'm on my crutches still, I can just lock myself into the harness and use my crutches to...
I can see it pulling you backwards down a hill.
Yeah, which would be really interesting.
Fantastic.
But if you can get one secondhand at like the local green shed, the local recycle place, if you could get a wheelbarrow secondhand or one of those carts secondhand, man, when you cart and feed to different animals or water to different animals, or you're having to move nesting boxes or take up medicines or things like that.
I don't think I've ever brought a new one.
No, we haven't. We're tight.
I find bits of it and I'll just go, bugger, I'll build another one.
We seriously, every wheelbarrow we've had had it, and it's the most you'll buy is a new tyre.
Yeah,
I've seen you buy a new tyre. And you did buy a new liner for one.
No, I found that.
Oh, did you find that?
I found that at it was a like a council cleanup pickup.
And somebody left it
there. And the tub was sitting on the edge of the road.
It had a crack in it, didn't it?
No, it was perfect.
Was it perfect?
It just had no bottom.
Oh,
and I stopped and quickly
There you
threw
go.
the car and then bolted.
That's how much we spend on our tools. We just go around to the council pickups and
perfect inside the busted one. So all I had to do was just chuck it in there and off it went again.
that's why it's got 2 layers. Yeah, because you just sat it on top of the broken one.
Yep.
Okay, so we've talked about budget options. Honestly, $2 washing up gloves from the shop is going to do you. Plastic trowels will get you going through until you can afford metal ones. They will wear out faster. They'll break. You know, if you're really digging around, they will break eventually. But if you can get to a green shed or a recycle place and get some metal ones, honestly, the only thing I would say to you is, because I'm very conscious of the whole biosecurity hazards that happen on farms, I would say any farm equipment that you get, like any tools, just give them a wash. What would you say, metho or in some kind of alcohol?
Oh, you could. It depends on what you want to do with them.
No, but just so if there's anything in the soil, you're not transferring.
Yeah, just give them a good wash with soap or something like that.
Soap and water, and you could. I mean, I'll put an alcohol wash over something. We've got that isopol, the rubbing alcohol. I'll use that to wipe down things. I mean, the other day we're at the hospital getting my staples out of my most recent surgery, and the woman that had the stapler. What did she do? Dropped it on the ground?
She dropped it on the ground and then was about to dive into your leg, which has just been infected, mind you. And she dropped the scissors on the ground. And I sort of looked at her and she looked at me and I thought, well, hey, what are you going to do with them? You're not going anywhere near
my leg with something that's just dropped on the floor.
Yeah, she picked them up and she had the spraying alcohol and she absolutely drowned them in alcohol and then wiped them clean with an alcohol wipe.
Yeah. And now we're fingers crossed that, we're fingers crossed that actually worked. Another thing that we haven't mentioned so far is recycling old containers. So the kids do love an ice cream.
We've got so many ice cream.
We have so many ice cream containers. Ice cream is something that
kids
I know. Well, it's not me. I hardly eat it.
It's not me.
I hardly eat ice cream.
I do love the shit. It's great.
Handy Helper loves ice cream. Kids love ice cream. I love yogurt, and unfortunately, goat's milk doesn't make the best yogurt. So we do buy the big yogurt tubs, Chobani yogurt tubs from Costco. Which are 2 litres, I think.
I think 2 litres.
Yeah. And so we recycle those containers. They're plastic containers, but we reuse them for animal feed containers. So when we're carrying chook feed up to the chooks, we'll carry it up in those. We use them as scoops. So we use them to scoop food out of bags. Yep. The ice cream containers we use to divvy up food and carry up for the milking. Yeah. We use them for carrying eggs down from the egg yard. We don't have an egg basket as such. I bought one and we never use it. And we just use the ice cream containers and we stack all the eggs up in the ice cream containers and put them inside the big bucket and carry that down. So things like that. Don't just think you have to buy the thing that actually does the job. Look around your house and see what you can recycle, because you don't need to buy like 1 million pots for plants when you can just have a couple of little containers that you brought in. Even the strawberry containers, so containers that you buy strawberries in from the shop, if you're buying strawberries or blueberries, put a bit of soil in the bottom of them and put seeds in them. They make great seedling containers. And when they're all cracked and broken, you just throw them out. Yeah.
Excuse to buy more strawberries.
Yeah. Yeah. Mid-range, on the mid-range stuff, we talked about Fiskars. There's also a brand called Spear & Jackson that do tools that are quite strong.
Yep.
But like I said, 90% of these tools come out of the same factory in China. So don't get hung up on the brand. Apart from the secateurs, maybe I'd go that I think some of those better quality ones aren't made in those factories, but definitely for everything else, you could go the cheapy version.
The Fiskars ones are, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure they have a really, really good warranty on them if you break them.
Yeah, I think they do.
You take them back to the store. I know that they're bigger items like axes and stuff like that. The Fisk axes are unbelievable.
Yeah, because we've got a log saw.
No, I've got an actual axe. It is so sharp you could cut a steak with it without a problem.
Yeah.
It's like a knife. It's unbelievable. But they have a lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
If you break the handle off it, you take it back to the store you got it from,
and they'll fix it.
Give you a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind.
Gloves, we said you can get the cheaper ones, but if you want to go the dearer ones, some fabric ones because they breathe a bit more. Leather gloves if you're doing things with really thorny stuff or bees or anything like that. Fencing with reinforced palms because that's where you'll cop it. That's where it feels like you always get stabbed. Metal watering cans, obviously going to last a lot longer than plastic ones, but if you can't afford the metal one straight up, don't. If you can't get it from the secondhand shop, just go with the plastic ones.
Plastic ones will last, just don't leave them sitting in the sun.
Yeah, you got to put them back in the shed, out of the out of the direct sunlight, so that they don't crack.
They'll last for ages.
Now, backyard livestock basics. So once you start moving towards the chicken and some of you guys in the Northern Hemisphere, rabbits are really big. There's a few basics that you'll need, but again, you can DIY a lot of this stuff. I think I've shown a photo. We're very hot here. We have shown a couple of times the photo of the Handy Helper's milking bowl that he made me out of a coffee table, which was so easy and cost like $5, and we're still using it. It's been almost 8 years. I think.
Love it.
Yeah. Lucy runs in and jumps up onto it every morning like, I'm up.
Puts her head through the stock. Okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah. They know exactly.
Yeah.
So, but for things like chickens and rabbits, for your smaller kind of animals, the kinds of things that you've been looking at are feeders and waterers, and gravity-fed plastic ones are the cheapest.
Yep.
And you can get them secondhand. And like I said, if you're getting them secondhand and they have been used on a farm, my big caveat is always wash everything with soap and water. You don't want to buy a security hazard coming in. Beekeeping stuff is the one thing I would say don't ever get secondhand. Varroa mite and all the other diseases that can occur with bees, it's a big risk to buy secondhand. Unless you know the person that you're getting them off, it's a really big risk.
We get cranky when people put hives within 5 kilometres of our property onto other properties where people bring hives in and put them on properties.
Because varroa mite at the moment in Australia is just going a bit nuts.
Yeah.
And ours, we haven't been touched yet, but
touched yet,
touch wood. Now, a secure coop and a run is another thing that you need, and that can be DIY'd. You made our one out of a trailer.
Yeah.
But
out of an old stock crate trailer.
Yeah. And what about our other one before that? That was just a frame. It was a carport frame.
It's an old carport that was sitting beside the shed where we lived out at the other farm at Gunning. And I welded a couple extra bits on, put a door on it, and completely wrapped it in chicken wire. That was the chicken coop.
Yeah, and it worked great.
And you end up dragging it halfway across the shed, across the yard, and moved it.
It still worked great. Yeah, and it still worked great.
It still worked great.
But old cubby houses are another one that you can repurpose. Trampolines, we've repurposed trampolines for other things.
Yeah, I've seen that done before. They make a chicken coop out of an old trampoline.
Yeah, just wrap it in wire and
it's really good.
Yeah, away you go.
The only thing you got to watch is height wise and stuff like that. Obviously, if you're not going to put a top on it, your chooks might need to be clipped.
Yeah.
Just to stop, you only got to take the outer feathers off the one wing and
stop them flying out.
Despite what people think, they don't fly in circles when you do that. But
do people actually think that?
Chooks can fly, let me tell you. People say they can't. I bet I could prove them wrong.
The goat chicken definitely flies.
Oh, God, she flies for 20 miles to come to you, that one.
Now, bedding. Bedding is something that you do tend to have to buy fresh.
Yep.
Because it gets soiled. Now, I have used in the past shredded paper from work, where I've just collected shredded paper from work, but we found it
makes a mess.
It just makes such a big mess. Honestly, our favourite is wood shavings. Straw, I find, harbours too much crap in it.
You get too much license.
Yeah, filled up in straw. Whereas wood shavings, I use a kitty litter scoop and I just shake out the dirt, like the shit.
If they've shit in the nesting box.
If they've shit in the nesting box, and the wood shavings last for a lot longer.
Yep.
Egg basket, we already talked about that. We just use our ice cream containers. You can get an egg basket and you can get these lovely aprons with little pockets for putting all the eggs in and all that kind of stuff. We just use it. We use a plastic ice cream container, and when they get too old and too floppy and cracked, we throw them out and start with a new one.
Stash them in the shed and save them for another day.
God, seriously, we need to do a big clean out of the shed. Can I just say that? Now, it's for chicken stuff. Gumtree and Facebook Marketplace if you're in Australia, Craigslist if you're in America, is full of secondhand chicken gear. People that got chickens and went, you know what, this isn't for me, and they try and get rid of it.
There's some really cool stuff if you're just doing it like in a backyard. or something like that. They do some really cool chicken coops now that you can move around like they're on wheels. They're like a dome.
You can go top end.
It depends on how many chooks you want too.
Yeah, and some of these ones,
3 in a backyard's awesome.
Yeah, and they come with, so the ones we saw at Murray Bateman Field Days, they come with the water attachment, the feeder attachment. The nesting boxes are in there. They've got wheels on the bottom of them. They've got an automatic door that shuts, which we don't bother because we've got a dog that looks after them. Yeah, I worry that the automatic door would shut on a chicken, but anyway.
Oh, no, they stay out too bloody late in the door.
And then the door would shut and they're stuck out. Yeah, true. But these coops, they weren't cheap. They were like $2,000. Yeah. But they had everything. You wouldn't have to buy anything. They're all complete and contained. And you can move it, wheel it around your backyard if you're just in a backyard, wheel it around your backyard, and they're on fresh grass all the time.
It's not hard to do. I've done chicken coops for people in their backyards. And
if you're half handy, you can do it.
It's not a challenge. It's
now, there are a couple of things that you can go a bit more mid-range with. And we did do it. Actually, they were secondhand, the ones that we got. This galvanised, the metal.
Galvanised metal.
Yeah. So galvanised feeders, which can be rodent-proof because rats and mice will chew through plastic. The galvanised feeders, they won't chew through. We did get them secondhand. I can't even remember where. They might have been here on the farm.
It's a weird thing. We had the metal ones, but we actually had them hanging off the floor.
Yeah.
They were hanging on a chain, and that sort of stops the mice and that getting to it. But we also found out that that chickens are carnivores, and if a mice comes in and tries to steal food when the chook's awake, it's food. So they absolutely love mice.
Anybody that tells you chickens won't eat mice, bullshit. They love them. They scoff them.
Nuts. But yeah, the galvanised feeders are really good.
And so mid-range, you can also, like we said, buy the store-bought coops if you're not handy, and maybe time is more important to you than money. So in which case, go buy the store-bought coops. Yep. But if your money is more precious, then have a go at building it yourself because it's really not that hard.
Stuff like that. I opted out on that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
I went and brought.
Yeah, it was easier. We just didn't have time.
Bloody 6 nesting boxes. They were all pre-made, the 3 in a row.
They didn't even cost that much, really.
Made, and I just walked in the chicken coop, threw them in and screwed them to the wall, and they all run up and jumped in them.
Yeah, we have to keep going because we're going to go over, because whenever you're on, we always go over.
Because I talked to you.
Inside the homestead, so kitchen and preserving tools, and I'll try and go through these last couple of ones pretty quick. Preserving and cooking from scratch, you don't need super duper. What's the Le Crochet, the really expensive French brand of pot? You don't need one of them.
Just a stock pot.
I bought a cheap Aldi stock pot and it does just the same job. So I use that for making bread. I use it for making soups and cooking up any big batches of meat that I'm doing. Glass jars. This is where you will spend some money, but you can get secondhand. Now, and the main thing that you have to look at is any cracks or chips in them. If they've got cracks or chips in them, they're not going to be good. You can still use them. You can use them for dry storage. So you can use them for putting things like rice, flour, stuff like that in. But for fermenting and preserving, you need to make sure that they don't have any chips in them and they don't have any cracks in them. And you just buy extra lids. Just buy new lids. Don't worry about whatever lids they came with. Throw the old lids out and get the new lids. They're as cheap as chips. Wooden spoons, because that way it doesn't matter what you're mixing it in. You're not going to damage the pot. And a sharp knife, and a knife sharpener is my hot tip, because we hate it when we go to cut things and we have a blunt knife. So we have a knife sharpener, and every now and then we just go through and sharpen all our knives. If your knives are really, really blunt, I would say take them to somebody like at a shop who does knife sharpening and get them sharp right from the get-go, and then keep them sharp after that.
Befriend a butcher.
Yeah, they know how to sharpen.
They know how to sharpen a knife really well.
Chuck's cloths or cheesecloths. We have a massive roll of Chuck's cloths that we buy from Costco. And we use it for washing udders of goats. We use it for washing in the kitchen. We use it for washing in the bathroom. We use it for everything. And when the Chuck's cloth starts to get a bit yuck, we just throw it out. And when it gets really, really yuck, it goes to the toilet cloth. And once it's done the toilet cloth once, then it goes in the bin. Yeah. Cheesecloth we use for straining our milk, and you can also use it for making yogurt and cheese and things like that. And it's actually not that expensive to buy just cheesecloth. And you can go into a fabric store and just buy a length of cheesecloth, cut it into different sections that you want, and stick it in your kitchen drawer in a plastic clip seal bag. And then when you need when you need a piece of cheesecloth, you just get it out. Yep. Digital thermometer. I used to have an old-fashioned thermometer that you stuck in, and it was one of the mercury ones.
Yep.
And it busted. And I was sad that it busted. And then the handy helper went and got me a digital thermometer, and I will never go back to a mercury thermometer again.
It's an awesome thermometer.
It's so quick.
I hunted around for so long to find
so quick, and you just stick it in, and within a couple of seconds, it tells you exactly what the temperature is. Yeah, it's the best. So, budget options, obviously, go to your green stores, go to your recycle places, things like that. Like I said, if you've got old pasta jars, old glass jars that maybe you're not sure that they're as solid as they should be, use them for dry storage. Don't use them for preserving, and that way you don't have to worry about them cracking. But Vacola and Fowler's preserving systems are the better ones, and the ball jars, obviously, the wide mouth mason jars, the ball jars. Yeah. If you can afford them, go for it. If you can't afford them, don't stress. Start with the lesser ones, and as you get better and as you can afford it, then move up to the ball ones. One thing that we do use a lot of is our stick blender. When I make soap, without the stick blender, I'd be screwed. Yeah, it's the only thing that works for making soap. All right, I don't know how much more we've got to go here, Handy Helper. I'm just going to have a look because I actually can't remember how many more. We've got a couple more. Okay, so composting and waste reduction tools. Obviously, we compost straight into our veggie garden. We've got an area that we just dump all of our compost, and the Handy Helper goes up there every so often and turns it all over. Okay. We have a kitchen scrap container here. It is an old plastic tub. I bought a compost thing for the kitchen and we never use it. We just use the plastic tub. So even though we've bought one, like a proper kitchen scrap container, we don't use it. So I would say just use an old ice cream container.
Good excuse to buy ice cream.
A garden fork or aerator, we had an old one that we found, I think here.
Yeah, I've got a couple of pitchforks.
And you've just put a new handle on it, haven't you? Yeah. Worm farm, we don't bother with a worm farm because we have such a big area that we dump all the compost.
Compost over, it is full of worms.
Yeah.
Don't need a worm farm thing.
Now, a couple of things that can help with it is pallets or crates. So if you can pick up pallets or crates from an old shop like secondhand where they're trying to get rid of them, and you'd be surprised, you get pallets everywhere.
All the time.
Yeah.
People always say to me, do you want them?
Yeah, he'll walk up to, he'll see pallets sitting at the side of a shop and walk up and go, hey, doing anything with those pallets? And they're like, no, you can have them if you want. Next thing, he's coming home with like 10 pallets on the back of the horse float. Worm farms, you can even do a worm farm out of a polystyrene boxes. Yeah. Like seriously, they don't need that much. But like we said, our worms live in our big compost heap and we don't have to worry too much. Now you can get the fancy compost tumblers. Remember we got?
Yeah, what the hell happened to that one?
I've got no idea. We bought one years ago.
I think we left it at the other
place. We left it at Gunning because it was full and it was just too hard to move. But honestly, we find it easier just to dump the compost into a palleted area.
Put it as easy way. You put your fingers in your ears. It was a waste of fucking time.
It was a waste of fucking time. It was. So I would just go with building 3 walls, dumping all your compost there, turning it over regularly. Yep. When it looks like it's getting full and starting to settle, maybe make another area next to it with 3 sides and do the same and let that compost settle.
If you haven't got time to turn it over, get your chooks out.
And let them
chooks in there because they'll throw the shit everywhere because that's what they do.
And they will turn it over for you. Now, my after all that, the nice to have. So these are things that one day you're probably going to want, but I would say to you, do not go out and buy them straight away. Half of these I don't have, and yeah, they're on my to-do list and they're things I want, but what are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at it. This is no way.
The Handy Helper haven't. What? A food dehydrator. That is on my list, but they're like $1,000 for a good one. So yeah. So and we're off grid anyway, so that would always be an issue is how it's going to drain the power.
Yeah.
A pressure canner. I want one of those American stock pot pressure canners, but they're minimum $600, I think, for the small one. That's US, so that's $1,000 Australian. It ain't happening anytime soon. I'll just water bath all my cans on the stovetop.
Yep.
Solar powered anything. Well, obviously we are solar powered. We're off grid. We're solar powered, and we did have to buy this in 2025. We bought 4 new batteries. which cost a lot of money, but they worked a treat, and they're still working a treat, and we're pretty happy with it.
They have their hiccups every now and then, but that's usually because it might rain for a week.
Yeah. And then we have to put the Jenny on for a little while, give them a bit of a boost. But solar-powered fencing, it can be expensive. It's good down the track, but it can be expensive. And you do have to maintain it. There's a certain level of maintenance that goes with it.
The solar-powered electric fences and bits and pieces aren't worth skinting on. If you can put it,
you've got to
pay. You've got to buy something decent.
Yeah,
you buy the cheap knockoff shit from
China,
from bloody eBay or whatever. Yeah. They just don't last.
Yeah,
they don't last. There's a couple of really good reputable brands that you can buy, and most big stock food places and stuff will keep them.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. Gallagher. If I had to recommend one, it would be Gallagher. And if we could afford to buy Gallagher for all of our fencing, we would.
Yeah, we would, 100%.
Beekeeping gear. As I said before, with diseases, you do not want to go secondhand on that. You do not want to go cheap and nasty. You can go cheap. So the Chinese-made hive boxes are exactly the same as all the other ones. It just may be a bit cheaper timber. Same product. So long as they're brand new, I would never buy secondhand beekeeping gear.
The only thing I'd say with hives, if you were going to go fancy or something like that, and you were going to buy a flow hive or something, buy a flow hive.
But buy the flow hive.
Buy the knockoff one.
Because we've heard horror stories about the knockoff flow hives not working.
Not working and breaking and stuff like that.
Whereas the flow hive guys here in Australia who develop it, put on them for developing it. You know, they deserve it. But also too, you can go back to them if there's a problem. You can go back to the manufacturer.
Their hives are phenomenal. Yeah, they build a really good product. So.
Yeah, and we're in too cold a climate. We've looked at flow hives. It's not going to work for us here because
the honey won't flow.
The honey doesn't flow as easily in colder areas.
Today,
you'd have to do it on those really heat wave days to get it out. Fencing tools for livestock. Yep, that's a big expense. It's always going to be a big expense.
It's a big outlay, but most of the tools that they make these days for fencing and bits and pieces are all metal tools. There's no plastic shit.
No. No, but it costs. They're not cheap.
I've got a box full of them in the back of my four-wheel drive. They're in there all the time. I know where they are. There's joiners and bloody strainer
for fixing. Because when you're driving around, if you see part of a fence broken, you have to get out and fix it because otherwise you'll have the livestock out. Now, I do put wheelbarrow down on here too, which is, I've said, not urgent unless you're on a big block. Having a good wheelbarrow or a good cart is not a bad thing.
You've got to have a big one. You can't have a small one.
And we've talked about the possibility of maybe getting we've got an old ride-on lawnmower, and we've talked about getting a little trailer for the ride-on lawnmower to use as a pseudo kind of tractor trailer, which again, there's an expense attached to that, and that's down the track.
I run it for free, so it's not.
Yeah. That was a bargain, that one. We are the ultimate scabs. I'm sorry. So the main things I want you to think about is borrow before you buy. So try something. If you're not going to use it all the time, if it's something, you don't even have to borrow it, but buy a cheaper version of it. Try it if you don't have a neighbour that can loan it to you.
Yep.
If you're not using it all the time, you're not going to use it all the time when you buy the expensive version. So just scrap it and say, no, that's a tool I don't need. Buy secondhand where possible, and obviously keeping in mind biosecurity, but so long as they're clean, there should be no problem. Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, the green stores, the recycle stores at the tips, and for those in the Northern Hemisphere, Craigslist is probably a good option. Swap and share. Now, this is a good one. We've done this with a backhoe. A next door neighbour had a backhoe that needed a little bit of mechanical work done on it. A handy helper did the mechanical work on it. We borrowed the backhoe for 5 days.
Yeah, I went hell for leather.
And he just didn't stop. It was when he was on a block of days off, and he literally just used it. Like once he got it going, fixed and running well, we dug a dam, we built roads, we backed up other dams, we covered in areas.
The only problem now is I want one.
Yes, but we borrowed it because realistically it's not worth us buying one if we're not using it all the time.
Yeah, it was good. It was good for what I had it for.
Hire it if you have to. And that's what we'll probably do next time. We'll probably hire one so that we can get one out and we'll just hire it and go hell for leather on what we need. Now, the other thing to not forget is it's okay to ask for what you want at birthday and Christmas times. Australians are terrible at doing that. We do just get me whatever, bullshit. Handy helper, I want a kneeling pad, like one of those seats for the garden that I can kneel on and sit on in the garden. Guess what? That's what I got for Christmas.
And you got one of the best ones.
The one that I wanted. There's no harm in asking for the things that you want. And if you are just starting out in homesteading and your family are, maybe you're still trying to get their head around it, take a photo of it online, send it directly to them and say, this is the exact one I want. Could you please get me this? This is what I want for Christmas or birthday.
Doesn't always work for me, but...
No, because you go and buy other stuff too.
It's like I want a motorbike so that I can pretty more. And you go, no.
Yeah. And I go, not yet. Not yet. But don't be afraid to say to your family and friends, look, we're starting out with our homesteading. If you can get me a soaker hose, if you can get me a spray hose, if you can get me one of those nets that go over the fruit trees, those beautiful frames that I love that are very expensive that I want but can't have yet. Frames to go over the fruit tree with a net that goes over it so that you can keep it away from the birds taking all your fruit.
It's always things you can buy.
Ask for them as a present. Ask for them as a present. That was a really loud crack. I wish my knee would do that. Oh, so you don't need flash gear to get started. You just need to get started and borrow, beg, steal. Don't steal. I didn't say steal. Borrow, but make sure you return it. Unless it just floats into your property like, weird ass tools do on our property.
Up in our place.
Yeah, I know. But try and be resourceful. Try and go to the secondhand shops. Even if you don't need something yet, go and have a look and you'll be surprised what's there.
It's really weird. Sometimes it's worth just going to have a walk around in there. I do every now and then.
And we usually come out with stuff.
Go to the friggin' the green shed and have a walk around. You go, oh, wow, I could use that. Yeah, another wheelbarrow.
Yeah. But don't go the flashy stuff until you've tried the cheapo version and you know you're going to use it. Yeah. And you might use the cheapo version and go, I don't even need the flash version. The cheapo version's doing just fine. Yeah. In which case, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah. Anyway, that is it for us. We have to go. We have a birthday party to go to. She's turning 21 again for the 20th year in a row. She is. She's older than that. 21 for 20 years in a row would make her 41. She's older than that. Anyway, we're going to a birthday party. I'm going to see how my leg holds up. Handy helper might have to carry me back out to the car if
Fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for us for now. Bye for now. Talk next week.
See you guys.
Bye. Are you tired of spending too much of your hard-earned money at the supermarket? Are you dreaming of farm fresh eggs, homegrown veggies, and homemade everything? Well, welcome to Ditch the Store, where we break free from supermarket dependence and take back control of our food and household essentials. I'm CJ, and I'm here to show you that life is too short for store-bought eggs. So let's get started.